Hello and welcome to another Wednesday Industry Live Sensitive Assumption Series. I'm ThatKimberly, and I thank you for stopping by and joining me in this conversation. I'm going to be chatting a little bit about my uh, self advocacy that led me to getting my brain spec scanned at the Amen Clinic. This is not a commercial, and this is not medical advice. Okay, I am just sharing what I learned when I went and got my brain scanned after the first time in emergency detention. So I'm going to be going over that, what the misdiagnosis was and what my true diagnosis was as well, and then giving the 11 things that you should do to have a better brain, healthier brain. So, but before I do that, wherever you're watching, I'm testing, doing a little test, A/B testing, going live a little bit earlier, not doing any pre-advance notification. And actually, I jumped on probably 10 minutes before I was scheduled, but I wanted to go ahead and make sure I get everything in under 30 minutes. I'm try to be mindful of people's time. So wherever you're watching, make sure that tell us hashtag a replay and what city that you're watching from. You there's the little explanation that I was looking to give you. If you want to go and watch other episodes, you can just go to Google, put in hashtag ThatKimberly or hashtag Industry Live, and you'll have more videos in other places where we've gone live. So, and last but not least, if you wish to be a guest, please email me at kimberly@marketingdoer.com. But without further ado, I'm going to remove that banner, and we're jumping into these spec scans that I had done back in 2022. So I'm going to go into this. This is my brain, outside brain here, and the drawings were showing indentions. And then this is a healthy brain spec or skull, if you will. But for those who don't know, because I did not know, I'm going to just read this off. A spec scan is primarily used to view how blood flows through the arteries and veins in the brain. Tests have shown that it might be more sensitive to brain injury than either MRI or CT scanning because it can detect reduced blood flow to injured sites. What is the difference between an MRI and a SPECT scan is SPECT scan is similar to the MRI in that both can show 3D images of the brain. However, whereas the MRI shows the physical anatomy or structure of the brain, SPECT scan shows how it works, where it lights up on the inside, what's going on, too high, too low, and all those other great, just bright red, white, and blue colors. So that's what a SPECT scan is. And I went and got SPECT scanned after I was misdiagnosed bipolar in being sent on emergency detention during COVID. And I'm not going to go into that story, but you can watch past Instagram lives to see what I'm talking about. But I went on an advocate of my own health search to get a second opinion on this bipolar diagnosis, because whatever I was, I just wanted to know so I could take care of myself, so then I can make sure I'm taking care of my mother properly, because I am also a full-time caregiver to my mother. So I sought out I actually went to two different doctors who gave me verbal tests and just basically said that I just sounded like I had a really, really bad day, because most bipolar diagnoses are diagnosed younger, way before the age of 47, when which was the first time I was slapped with a bipolar diagnosis. But the second time I went to emergency detention, let me back up. So I went on a search, and after the second doctor said that same thing, I found the Amen Clinics. This is not an advertisement, but amenclinics.com is where I went to go have my brain scan. And I was interested in two things: knowing if I really was bipolar, that they could see, because they could see that in the brain, and two, if there were any signs of Alzheimer's, because Dr. Amen, he's been a doctor for over 35 plus years. He's scanned over 200,000 different brains. He's the leading psychiatrist and brain expert that that you can see Alzheimer's 20 or 30 years prior to there being any symptoms. So I wanted to know for my own just so for my own well-being and thought and freedom of that, whether what I needed to do if I had any Alzheimer's signs. So that's why I went to go find out. This is the skull version of the outside. There was some indentions. There were some things that were from past trauma and physical contact in sports. And then this is where you could see my ADD and different lighten up of different sections of my brain. And the results were basically to fix or to pay more attention to these 11 things to make my brain healthier. And I'm going to go through these real quick with you guys. It is something I had to work on 6 of the 11, and it definitely makes a difference. And because I wasn't paying attention to what my diagnosis was back then, I was just more concerned on what I wasn't, and I didn't pay attention to the fact that I was diagnosed with some post-traumatic stress disorder. Obviously, I did have ADD. And then there was also some other mixed anxiety disorders, abnormal brain scan because of that indention. And then the big diagnosis, if you will, was the disruptive mood dysregulation disorder that I was diagnosed, that I totally skipped over, and which would have caused me to need to be on some sort of mood regulation meds. So I wasn't taking any of that the second time I went into emergency detention, which got me into the hospital for about 2 weeks. And what spurred these conversations, because I want to be talking about mental health in the workplace and how we are working towards a better to revolution in brain health, because like Dr. Amen quoted and has been quoted many times, saying that psychiatry is the only doctor that doesn't get to see the brain, the actual organ that it treats, that you're diagnosed by clusters of symptoms. So with that, after seeing my brain and the SPECT scan and getting the diagnosis, I know that these 11 things that I have to work on every day to keep my brain healthy. Blood flow. I need to figure out ways to boost my blood flow, and these are 10 of them. And I don't, depending on the time, I'll probably start going through less and less of them. But you focusing on drinking more water, do cardiovascular, different sports with coordination. Get assessed for sleep apnea if you snore. Focus on 7 hours plus of sleep every night. Put blue blockers on from your phone. A small piece of sugar-free dark chocolate. Take more ginkgo, omega-3 fatty acids, green tea, and resveratrol. I'm not quite sure what that is, and then retirement and aging, to not do that. Stop smoking. Limit charred meats. Get your phenytoin levels checked. Donate blood. Try a daily 12 to 16 hour fast. Consume more plant antioxidants such as organic blueberries. And then these other, your Alacar, your NOC, I'm not even going to try and pronounce them, and stay connected and start daily practice of learning something new. So don't retire. That's the one of the 11 things. Inflammation, and seeking ways to lower your inflammation. You can do that by flossing your teeth daily, a CPR, checking your CRP levels, test hormone levels, omega-3 indexes, aim to get above an 8, work on getting to a healthy weight, eat an inflammatory memory rescue diet, especially with more folic rich foods, fruits, leafy greens, beans, and lentils. Get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Vitamins B12, as methyl I'm just going to mangle that. I'm not going to, but your folates and vitamin B6, omega-3 fatty acids, and more some more high bioavailability supplement forms. So anyways, that's for the eye and inflammation. And I'm going to, just for the sake of time, because I feel like I'm going to go over, I'm just going to do the acronym. So it's Bright Minds, and I just finished the inflammation. Then there's Know Your Genetics, and this is some 10 other things, ways to decrease your genetic risk. Head trauma, ways to decrease your head trauma risk, things, but you do have to consider that if you do have some sort of head trauma like I did, that there could cause some brain damage. Toxins, ways to decrease your toxins by organic. When pumping gas, don't breathe in the fumes. Sounds pretty simple. Stop smoking and avoid secondhand smoke. Limit alcohol to 2 glasses a week. Avoid marijuana. Only have general anesthesia when absolutely necessary. Install a carbon monoxide detector in your home. Do not handle receipts as they are plastic side. Wow, toxins on them and absorb through your skin. Do not drink or eat plastic containers. Eliminate MSG and artificial colors and preservatives from your diet. So that's huge. And then mental illness, ways to decrease your mental illness. If you have evidence of mental illness, and or ADD, depression, make sure that you pick up a book on the topic, exercise daily, take daily omega-3 supplements. If you struggle with worries, consider supplements to boost your serotonin, such as 5-HTP or saffron. I take saffron now every day. Whenever you feel mad, sad, or nervous or out of control, write down your negative thoughts to learn to talk back to them. Dr. Amen calls them the ants to your automatic negative thoughts, and you just learning to be able to speak to those and get rid of those automatic negative thoughts. Focus on 7 hours of sleep if you can. Seek social support from a church or community, and if natural interventions are not effective, work with a local therapist or psychiatrist, which I also do. So every day it's definitely an everyday practice that I'm working, striving to get back to my, if you will, normal. I know that it is something that I can't, that I neglected the first time or the second time, and the first, that it got me there, so in emergency detention, but most definitely the second, when I wasn't paying attention to how I was feeling and what I was taking on and stressing over, and basically just, had a mental breakdown. Basically, my brain broke again, and I need, it passed out. So I was put on my second emergency detention. And because I was trying to be my own advocate at the time, I wasn't being a very good one for myself, because I was irate and I wasn't calming down to speak to the doctors so that I could explain to them what I had already had tested, what I had already done, and what I was on, what I wasn't, what I was okay with being on, what I wasn't. And that took a couple of days. So I do know now that there's a time and place for that I'm very much more aware of what I'm taking, when I'm taking it, talking to my therapist on a regular basis, my psychiatrist monthly. And for those who don't know, your psychiatrist prescribes you medication, and your therapist is somebody that you talk to on a regular, that doesn't usually prescribe prescription meds. So it's something that is needed now, especially. I mean, I think it's always been needed. I wish I would have started. I have said it several times that if I had started therapy in my 20s, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have ended up in emergency detention for the second time. So it's definitely something that I know therapy would have helped me prevent. I have been going through, just not consecutive. I didn't start therapy till my 30s, and I didn't stay consecutive and being a constant in my life. So now that's what I'm aiming for. I'm working every day, and just to maintain and keep that positive frame of mind so that I can share with others what's going on with, you know, my brain, because everybody's brain is different. And Dr. Amen said that most psychiatrists, psychiatric illnesses are brain health issues. That's not, it's not what, and it's not what they, it's a cluster of symptoms that they're diagnosing when they don't look at and physically look at the brain. So I'm in I'm on that bandwagon of his revolution in brain health. I'm with them. You know, I always share what it is that I'm doing and what's working, what's not working, because I want others to know so that they can do their own research and decide for themselves, because everybody's brain is different. And if we're not being more mindful of that, and what our brains can do, the fact that our brain is the hardware, and our which is fed by the mind software, and it operates everything. Our mind is telling the hardware what to do. And so if we're not taking care of that now, it definitely can get damaged, and things can go awry like it did for me back in April. So I just encourage people to continue to keep mental health top of mind, and keep their own mental health number one, so that way they can, if they care for themselves, they can care, they will be able to care for others. So this was a short and sweet, and join us. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you watch the replay, put hashtag where you watch the replay. If you want to be a guest, please email me here, Kimberly@marketingdoer.com. And next week, Lizzie Daniels will be on with me talking about her mental health journey. I'm super excited about that. That we'll get to chat, and it will be on regular time, which will be 12:30 Central Standard, 11:30 Mountain, 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern Standard. So join me next week, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Remember, sharing is caring. Thanks, guys.